Hey guys, so we're here at the Home Depot. We're gonna pick up some supplies. It's nasty outside, raining with ice. Look at that, 38 degrees. So what we're gonna need is pretty much approximately 16 2x4s. I'm gonna get 18 just in case you miscut or anything else. I pretty much have everything except for the wood, so I'm gonna go get some 2x4s. Okay, so we've got our wood here. So we're looking for 2x4s, cheapest ones, which are usually around $3 or less. All right, so I got 18 2x4s. Let's take it to the counter. All right, so I got the 2x4s loaded. I just gotta get a flag really quick and we can be on our way. Yeah, it did fit. Sticking out. I was about to do it flat, but I don't want to open the back cover because it's raining with snow. So hey guys, so I got the pieces cut last night. Sorry I didn't record it, it was really nasty outside. Didn't want my phone to get wet. So here what I did, I'm building an 8-foot shelf, and normally I do it slightly different, but I'll tell you what I did. So I got 30 pieces cut, and those I believe are 22 inches. 22 inches long. And I got 30 of those and a few extra for support later on. And I got 4 that are 25 inches long, and this is how wide our shelf's gonna be. I wanted sort of a little wider shelf, and you can of course do it however you like, but pretty much what you need. So I bought 18 2x4s yesterday, and I end up using 17. So one spare. This is where it's gonna go, right there. See, like you see there, I already built a couple shelves. I also built some shelves here, so you can really stock it if you think about it. Especially when you need space, they do make a big difference, and that allows it for the toes not to break when you stack them too high. So of course I got my studs here, that those were uncut. So I believe I got total of 8. So we're gonna use 4 for our shelves and 2 for standings. So of course yesterday as well, I marked the 2x4s for pre-drilling. Like you see here, I made an arrow. This is the way they match. That way I'm gonna put 2 pre-drill for 2 here and 2 on each side, and I spaced them 7 inches apart, so that way we can do our 2x4s. All right, so I'm gonna start off with drilling 2 holes on each side. So I'm gonna start with this. Pre-drilling is not required really. I have a friend who tells me now, but you know what, it makes a little difference for me. I think that the screws go out a lot easier, especially when you have long screws, and also prevents it from cracking, and that's definitely something I don't want. I mean, this is rare where it would actually crack, but it happens, and this way I prevent it from doing so. So 2 on each of the markers. My bong, but it's usually around ½ an inch. Remember that 2x4 is 1½ inch, so we want to sort of do it somewhere in between. We want our holes to be about slightly less, exactly 3/4 in. So this is all set. The 2 main shelves are pre-drilled. We still have to do the stands. Pre-drill that and measure for our height. All right, so this is my 4 bars that I mentioned that are slightly longer. This is the 25-inch one. But before I even start doing anything, I'm gonna just make sure That's right, this is 25-inch. We're gonna pre-drill holes in this, 2 holes in each side. This is for our crossbars. All set. Now we just gotta get our legs. So we're gonna pre-measure the legs. The height depending on how big, tall are your toes. In this case, I mean, my toes are about 31 inches tall when it's stacked in 2s. But some toes are higher, some smaller. And since I have variety of different toes, I'm gonna give it a little extra space to make sure that other toes fit as well. Alright, so I'm gonna do 35 inches for the first, so that means this is gonna be our center line for height. I'll probably suggest that you do it a little smaller for yours. I do have some big toes. So the way it's gonna go is this is the 35s, and our 2x4 is gonna go, here's the line when I'm holding my finger, right on top of it, and the shelf is gonna be right here, so it's gonna be even higher. So the shelf is gonna be roughly at around 42 inches. So the first shelf will be around 42 inches high. And I'll explain a little later why I'm doing this higher, just from trial and error. The first shelf, of course, if you want to do 3 shelves, you can do it as well. I'm doing the 2 because I can sit 2, 2, and 2. Start off 6 toes on top of each other, not to mention little gaps in between where I can shove in small stuff. And the second line will be also 35 inches away. So 35. So our line is going to be at 35 and 35 again. So this is going to be a bottom. We should mark it as floor. That way you don't get to confuse the lines. We're at 35 here. Let's mark it. All right, so start begin. So I'm using here is actually 2.5-inch drywall screws, which are about that long. So that's almost double a 2x4, almost, but not there. So that way it doesn't go through the second one, but we want it longer so that way it passes through the first 2x4 and grabs that one. So 2.5 inches recommended. This is the Phillips Tip Screws. They're not my favorite, however, other shelves were built with the same one, and instead of getting the square tip screws, which I highly recommend if you're using startup straight, it's just that the tips for the Phillips are easier to get, and since my other shelves were done with the Phillips drywall screws as well, I might as well just do the same thing to this one as well. Just piece of advice, try not to strip the screws because one day you're gonna wanna break it down, and it makes it a lot easier if the screws are in good condition. Alright, so I got the screws here pre-done. I really wanna have a working space, and of course I don't, as always. So here, of course, I marked it already, but here's what we wanna do. So we have the bottom feet here. We're going to separate them. And the crossbar, this is going to be where our shelf is going to sit on. And this is how wide it's going to be, 25 inches. So this time we're just going to screw 1 screw on each side. Measure. So I got exactly 18 inches between the 2x4s. We want to match that at the other side as well. That way there we know they're going to be nice and even. Alright, so I'm going to do the top as well. Same deal. Match up with the line. Put in 1 screw. Get the second side. The reason I only put one screw is this way I can separate this freely versus once I put the screws in, it kind of locks in place. So we're looking for 18 inches. We'll line that up with our markers. And now we can actually screw the second one in as well. So you want to make sure the marks are lining up. And like you see the top, the tree drill can be going on top on both sides. I'm done. So it looks like it's very sturdy. You can really walk on it. Alright, now that I made the space, this is going to be my shelves here. I'm going to put one, so that's why I leaned that against it, because if you're doing it by yourself, this is quite hard. Ideally you want to have somebody help you and hold it in while you do the screws. So I'm going to pre-drill here on both sides. Same thing on another one, and here as well. And that way we can put in screws here on this side, on top of it, and screw in the shelf in it so it stays in place. That way it doesn't just comes off. Alright, now I'm gonna put in the screws, and so that way they're just sitting there. So once we put our shelf, it's gonna be just easy, put it on, screw it in, hold it in place. Alright, so I got this lined up. I'm gonna set this to this side. Gonna take our shelf. Set it here. So we're just gonna grab it with our screws really quick. And we can do the same thing on the other side, just grab it. That's the way it's intact. So now we can work on our second one. So now I have a base to work on, which is nice. Now I'm gonna put screws on one of those, so that way it's all preset. You don't want to put screws on the both sides just yet, because we're gonna flip it. It makes it a lot easier to do if you do it on the side. But we can put screws in one of them. Say a workout. I'm just gonna put that on top, slide in. So once we have the second shelf in, we can start putting all the screws in. We're gonna start from the top, make a nice grasp. And that should level it out. We also have two pieces that I told you I may have some extra, is for the bottom reinforcements. So I'm gonna wait for that. I'm gonna put some weight on the shelf so that way it evens out, sits properly. And then I'm gonna attach right on the bottom for the legs to be reinforced. And that should do it pretty much. I'm doing two shelves because I can do two. And that's pretty much what you need. Do you really need more shelves? If you're accessing the bins extremely a lot, and perhaps you can do a couple shelves, 3, 4. So this is the plastic shelves that I have. I'm gonna put it on the floor. I'm not a big fan of those just because you can't really stack much stuff on it. I use it once in a while for small stuff. But this comes in great when you have storage spaces and you're concerned about water leakage, because it does happen. If you don't have totes, you can put those on the ground. The plastics are not gonna rotten or anything, and when they will hold and prevent your stuff from being wet. Especially when you have a basement. Basement do get flooded. They get wet, moisture just from the ground alone. Those can be handy. So let me get the top anchored, so we can put in all the screws on the corners. I lost my drill gun. What the hell did I do with it? Found it. All right, so the final price for the wood itself was $50.11. I did end up getting one extra spare 2x4. I did include the screws. You do need quite few, so big box probably will do. So is it worth building your own shelf? If you're considering that you can get a nice shelving which is similar to this one for around $220 around there. Effort wise, thinking about total half an hour yesterday after cutting the wood, picking up half an hour the wood, then additional 3-4 hours just to assemble it. I mean, I was taking my time because I was recording my video, but that's still roughly around 120 bucks, 150 bucks even, if you calculate the labor, parts, including the screws, because the screws I think are like 30 bucks. So it is way cheaper, but you have to count the time you spend it and building those shelves and effort. It is quite a lot of work, a lot of strain. However, the only advantage is, when you buy fixed ones, they have fixed size and that's it. Versus this one, I'm setting it to the maximum available size, which is 8 feet. And of course, if I need it to move somewhere else, I can cut it down in length at any time to make it small to fit into a specific space. So that benefit of that. But overall, when it comes to price-wise, getting one ready and building your own, you may consider just buying one, to be honest. So it looks good. It fits my 2 totes here. Have more clearance on the bottom. Show you guys in a second. And if I need to, depends on the weight. You want to do lighter stuff on the top. You can fit even 2 shelves with a ladder, but even one is fine. Depends what you're doing. Just make sure you put light stuff on the top. Saves trouble. Heavier on the bottom, easier to grab. So this is how you do it. I'll have the plans on my website as well, eventually, and a link in the description if you're interested. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Don't forget to click like. Come see my other videos. Thanks. See you around.